from where you at. I came here for vengeance, watch your back. No need to defend, I'm on attack. Sorry they can't reply, but I guarantee they had a blast. Pop, 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 I be on the next only, yeah, I am fresh to death.
What is going on, everyone? So I was having some trouble with my computer, and it was just not wanting to run this software anymore so that I could record these things. So there was a little bit of a lull last week as far as how much content I was putting out on here, but planning on getting back to it. New laptop, should be good to go from here. So I'm going to be continuing on with the things that people just don't necessarily fully understand when they take on the commitment of doing a show. And one of the biggest things that a lot of people just don't understand is how much it costs to actually do a show, okay? And I hear it so often that people are really on a budget and can't afford to pay for a coach or whatever, and they hear the prices like, oh, that's just too expensive, without them understanding that like that's one piece of the puzzle. So if you're already going into looking for coaches and thinking that like whatever price you've heard is too high and that you might be stretching your budget in order to do that, the reality of the situation is you are probably not in a financial position to look at getting on stage. And I'm going to break this down for you. I've got a bunch of things written down over here, and this is not an extensive list. I'm also just going to be speaking, so I'll talk about these things kind of at the end. I'm not going to put a bunch of edits up on this and whatnot, but the ultimate cost of getting on a stage is kind of broken down into two categories. And one is like, what's your monthly cost going to be? So how much are you going to be putting out specifically for this endeavor? And then there's all the fees that are associated with actually doing a show and what goes into that. And we'll kind of talk through the nuances of this because I don't think that this is an extensive list. I also don't think that my numbers are completely accurate. I'm probably underballing some things and probably overballing some things. And like, just the biggest thing that I want to give you here is context into like all the other things you're going to have to be paying attention to as far as what cost is going to be going into this in order to understand if you are financially ready to take this thing on, right? So first and foremost, we start with coaching. I think coaching is one of the most essential things that you can do for getting on stage. So let's not think about doing a show without doing a coach. So right off the rip, you're looking at anywhere from $200 to $500 a month. That's kind of the range that most people that I'm in contact with are in. So $200 to $500. Your nutrition, so how much you spend on food. Just myself, I'm spending $150 to $200 a week with the way the economy is right now. So we expand that over a month, and the range can be anywhere from $500 to $750 a month. And that amount is not that high, especially considering that like I'm not eating as much as I used to. So, I mean, it could be $750 plus a month on food because of how much you have to eat or what you're having to eat and the cost of the foods that are associated with that. So I said $500 to $750 as a conservative estimate. A gym membership, you can go really cheap and go to like a Planet Fitness and pay $10 a month or whatever it is. And then you can go to like the super fancy gym and go $100 a month. And then I know there's gyms that are even higher than that. So it just depends on the scale of like what gym you want to go to and what you're willing to pay. But I said $10 to $100 a month. Supplements, so this is just like general health supplements, $200 to $500. And I could even see it being higher than $500. If you're not taking the basic stuff to cover your health needs, you're going to have a little bit harder time with getting in prep. And like even the basic supplements that I give every single one of my clients start to add up over time. So if we're looking at a multivitamin, an omega, vitamin D and K2, B vitamins, glutamine, creatine, and magnesium. All those right there are in my essentials for all of my clients to cover the bare bones necessities of what their body needs to function. even that's $200 a month at least, right? So now if we start looking into, okay, we need a thing for your kidneys, we need a thing for your liver, we need a thing for your cortisol, we need a fat burner, we start tackling on all these things, you can see how very, very quickly you can spend a lot of money on just over-the-counter supplements. So I said $200 to $500 a month on that, and that could even be higher than that. Then we go into PEDs, because I'm separating these two categories here. If you're super bare bones basic and just running the bare necessities, you can maybe get away with like $300 a month if you have a decent source and you're just running like test mast, an estrogen blocker, and that's about it. If that's all you're running, then cool. Like you can probably keep that pretty low. But I mean, I have heard cycles costing tens of thousands of dollars. And that doesn't mean necessarily monthly, but I mean, your cycle could be $1,000+ a month, easy, if you are at a higher level in the sport. And like, especially as you get deeper into a prep with the escalation of PEDs and stuff, there is going to be an escalation in the cost of that, especially if growth hormone is being heavily used and you're using quite a bit of it. It starts to scale when we start to add more compounds at higher dosages. So like $1,000 a month could end up being on the low end here if you are one of those individuals that really has to push that. I said posing coaching because I don't completely think that this is 100% necessary, but I think it will ultimately help you. I think it is a very big tool, and I suggest most people to get themselves a specific posing coach. And that could range anywhere from $100 to $300 a month. I mean, if you're posing with somebody every single day and it's an hour and whatever, and you're paying them more than $300 a month, okay, that in and of itself is probably worth more than $300 a month. But if you're seeing somebody like once a week or maybe twice a week, I don't see that being it. I would hope that it's not like something that's $500+ a month. But that's obviously dependent on the individual that you're working with, because they can set up their costs however they want. So on the lowest end here, we're looking at $1,300 a month. And on the highest end, we're looking at $3,150 a month. That's a lot of money. And there's a lot of people who are wanting to do a show who are only bringing in $3,000 a month. So, I mean, unless you have no other financial needs or no other financial strains on your system, and you can spend all of your money on your bodybuilding prep, then cool, go for it. But you just need to understand what your budget looks like and how much you actually have to spend, right? And then the other thing that I mentioned here at the bottom, which I can't really put a price tag on this, is like I didn't include the excessive frivolous spending. That was not included, because anyone who has done a prep will tell you there are many times that they're just scrolling on Amazon looking for a hit of dopamine and trying to buy something. Most of the Jordans I have bought were in prep. Most of the random expensive things that I have around my house have been in prep. It's just you're trying to chase dopamine in any manner you can get it, because you're not getting it through food. And you start to spend more. It's just a reality of prep. So like, I mean, you could be spending, like, unless you're just really good with that and you don't allow yourself to spend anything extra at all. I mean, you could be spending a couple extra $100 to $1,000 a month, depending on how ridiculous you are, especially if you get into the shoe game. So that's your monthly fees. I mean, $1,300 to over $3,000. That's a big range, and it could be even higher than that. You know, I mean, you could potentially try and cut cost as much as you possibly could and get it under the $1,300, but that's still a pretty big nut for some people when they're telling me that a $300+ monthly coaching package is too expensive. So now we look into the one-time fees that are associated for just signing up to go to the show. So first off, you have to have an NPC card. You can't compete in the NPC without it. I paid for one at the first show a couple weeks ago, and I believe it was $125. So $125 just to compete, and that allows you to compete for the whole year. Show fees, $100 to $300, and that's just entry fees, depending on what show you're doing, who runs it, all that kind of stuff. And that doesn't include crossover fees. And those crossover fees, I mean, I've seen $50, I've seen up to $150, $200 to cross over to another class. So if you're doing like true novice, open, masters, and like however many classes you can do, or even transferring over from, I'm going to do 4 classes in classic, I'm going to do 2 classes in bodybuilding, they're going to charge you for every single one of those classes. So your show fees could add up quite significantly depending on how many classes you end up doing. Your tanning, $200, $300, $400, depending on who you're going with, how many coats of tan that they do, whatever. A hotel, $400 plus, because you're going to probably get there a few days ahead of time. So let's say you get there Thursday before the show. That would be the latest I would want an athlete to get to a hotel to be where they need to be. I mean, if you say Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and check out Sunday morning, I mean, you're probably over $400 a month, or $400 for that hotel stay. Travel. So if you got to fly, right, that's $300+ If you got multiple people with you, that starts to stack up. I think $300 is a very, very low estimate considering how costly travel is recently. So $300 on the low end versus who knows how high you could go depending on like what you end up spending on that travel, the things that you add on, the people that come with you. Transportation, if you're flying somewhere, you're going to have to get around somehow. So you're either going to spend it on Uber or you're going to get a rental car, and that's going to be at least over $200, if not greater, depending on the type of car, who you go with, how long you're using it, all that kind of stuff. Trunks for men, $50 to $90. I'm sure they could go even higher than that, just depending on the type of material that's used. Women's suits. I mean, these things can be ridiculous. Like I've seen girls get a suit for like $500-ish. I've seen girls get them $1,500, $2,000. Like I've seen some wild quotes for these suits. And not to say that there's not a lot of effort that are put into these things and they're really good quality, but like these things get really expensive really, really quickly. So ladies, you're going to be paying a lot of extra money because it's just the reality of what you have to wear when you get on stage. Women's makeup and hair, I honestly had no idea how to ballpark this one. So I said $200+ just because I know those things get expensive, and I think $200 is probably lowballing it. So any of my ladies out there that are watching this, if you got this far, you can correct me and let me know how expensive that actually is. And then show content packages, like everybody's paying for videos and pictures these days. You can see packages as low as $50. You can see them up to $200+. And then say you want to have your coach go to the show, and your coach has a clause in your contract of like, cool, you want me at the show, you have to pay for my fees. You have to pay for my backstage pass. You have to pay for my travel. If I'm traveling out of state, you have to pay for my flights. You have to pay for my hotel. If I'm driving, you have to pay for my gas. So like, depending on travel and show fees, you're going to fork out that money for that as well if you want your coach there. Not every coach does that. I do, and a lot of the people that I associate with do, because you can end up coaching somebody for free during that process if they've only been with you for a short period of time, and then you fly somewhere, stay somewhere for multiple days, and just take that one person through a show. You can have spent all the money that they paid you for coaching. So again, it's not something that every coach does, but it is something that you need to discuss with them to find out, like, hey, if I want you at my show, what's it going to cost? So on the lowest end here, males cost to compete, you're looking at about $2,000. That's just to go to the show. That's all the things to get you there to the show. And then females, I've got you over $3,000 because we look at the makeup and the suits and the difference in cost on those. And there's probably even something in here that I'm not thinking of, like as far as the monthly fees are concerned and as far as like show fees are concerned. There's probably some things that I'm missing in here because I'm just trying to do this off the top of my head. But you just need to understand that, like, if you're not ready to start forking out a lot of money a month in order to do this, you probably need to just focus on like getting better while you can until you can get to a comfortable position financially where you've either put money to the side or you're bringing enough money in every single month to where you can pay for this expensive hobby. Because that's what it is. I mean, if we go back up here and we look at, let's say our monthly cost was $1,300 to $3,000. Let's go right in the middle and say it's $2,000 a month for you to pay for everything with your prep. And you prep for 5 months, that's $10,000 for your prep. And that's probably a low end. You know, if you don't have that expendable income to put out there, you should probably just wait on doing a show. So this is, we're getting close to 15 minutes here, so I'm going to start to wrap it up there. But none of these numbers are set in stone. It's not like, oh, Nick said it's going to be $3,000, so it's going to be 3,000. It's not. But it's just a matter of like trying to show you where all the hidden fees are and how much these things add up very quickly. So hopefully this was enlightening for some people. Let me know if there's anything on that list as far as fees are concerned that I missed, or if I was way off on something. If I said that something cost X and it was not that amount, let me know. Let's chat about it. But this is for anyone who is looking to get into a show. Just understand that it's more than just a desire to do it. You have to have the finances to do this as well. It is a very, very expensive hobby.